He was only supposed to land in Toronto the next morning. If he hadn't missed his connecting flight in Vancouver, if he hadn't felt that strange ache in his chest all week, if he hadn't decided to surprise them by coming home early, he would have never seen it. And his life would have gone on built on a lie. Daniel Mercer had built everything from nothing. The son of Filipino immigrants in Mississauga, he grew up watching his mother, Elena, clean offices in downtown Toronto during brutal winters while he studied by the dim kitchen light. She never complained, not when the snow soaked through her boots, not when arthritis twisted her fingers, not when his father passed away and she had to carry the world alone. "Just promise me you'll build a life where you're respected," she used to say. By 35, Daniel had done more than that. His tech company had been acquired for 8 figures. He owned a glass-walled condo overlooking Lake Ontario. He drove a Tesla. He was engaged to Sophie Laurent, elegant, poised, educated in Montreal, perfectly polished for charity galas and business dinners. Everyone said he was lucky. He thought so too. That Thursday evening, Daniel unlocked the front door quietly. He wanted to surprise Sophie and his mom. Elena had moved in temporarily while recovering from a mild stroke. Sophie had insisted it was no trouble at all. He stepped inside and heard shouting. Not normal frustration, not irritation, cruelty. "You're useless." Sophie's voice cut through the hallway. "I told you not to touch my things." Daniel's heartbeat spiked. He walked toward the sound, every step heavier. The scene froze him. His mother was on the hardwood floor near the kitchen island. Her thin body trembling, a broken porcelain vase scattered beside her. Sophie stood over her, furious, red-faced, and in a moment Daniel would replay in his mind for the rest of his life. Sophie nudged Elena sharply with her foot. Not a gentle move, a kick. "You ruin everything," Sophie snapped. Daniel didn't think. He dropped his bag so hard it echoed. "Don't you ever touch her again." The room went silent. Sophie turned, startled. "Daniel, you weren't. I mean," she grabbed the vase. Elena struggled to sit up. "It was my fault," she whispered quickly. "I lost balance." Daniel knelt beside his mother. Her hands were shaking. He saw the fear in her eyes, not fear of falling. Fear of causing trouble. That was the moment something inside him cracked. Not anger first, clarity. He helped his mother to the couch and wrapped a blanket around her shoulders. He didn't look at Sophie. "Get your coat," he said calmly. Sophie blinked. "Excuse me, we're going to the hospital. Now." At the emergency room in Scarborough, Daniel stayed beside his mother as nurses checked her vitals. Sophie sat across the room scrolling her phone, occasionally sighing dramatically. Daniel watched everything. He saw how his mother flinched whenever Sophie's voice rose slightly. He remembered small moments, Sophie complaining about Elena's cooking smell, about her slow walking, about needing privacy. He had dismissed them as adjustment issues. Now the puzzle pieces hurt. After Elena was discharged with minor bruising, Daniel drove them home in silence. Snow had started falling, soft, quiet, almost mocking the storm inside the car. When they arrived, Daniel helped his mother inside. Then he turned to Sophie. "Pack your things." She laughed nervously. "Daniel, you're overreacting." He met her eyes, steady, unshaking. "I watched you kick my mother." "It wasn't a kick. I was upset. You know how stressed I've been planning the wedding. She's always in the kitchen, always moving things." "She is 72 years old," he said. Quietly. "She survived losing her husband. She worked double shifts so I could go to university. And she has never once spoken to you with disrespect." Sophie's face hardened. "So you're choosing her over me?" Daniel didn't raise his voice. "I'm choosing the kind of man I want to be." The next week was brutal. Wedding deposits were lost. Invitations cancelled. Friends whispered. Some said he was dramatic. Others said he should have talked it out. But every night when he made tea for his mother and saw her slowly relax again, saw the fear fade from her shoulders, he knew he had done the only thing he could live with. One evening, Elena sat at the dining table folding napkins. "I don't want to ruin your happiness," she said softly. "Maybe I should move to a senior's residence." Daniel sat beside her and took her fragile hands in his. "You didn't ruin anything," he said. "You showed me the truth." Months passed. Daniel converted his spare room into a sunny space just for his mother. He hired a physiotherapist. He reduced his work hours. They began taking small walks by the waterfront when the weather warmed. And slowly, something changed inside him. He stopped chasing appearances. He started investing in community housing projects in North York. He funded caregiver support programs. He spoke publicly about elder respect in immigrant families, about how success means nothing if you forget the hands that lifted you. The story spread, not because he was a millionaire, but because he chose his mother when it cost him everything comfortable. One spring afternoon, sitting on a park bench watching children play, Elena squeezed his arm. "You built a life where you're respected," she said. Daniel smiled. "No, Mom," he replied gently. "You did." And if he hadn't come home early that night, he might have married into cruelty, slowly watching the woman who sacrificed everything shrink in her own home. Instead, he lost a fiancé. And kept his soul. Sometimes the greatest wealth isn't what you earn. It's what you refuse to tolerate.